What is good, everybody, and welcome back to a video. This, of course, is Michael here. I haven't done a video in a while, so I thought, why not? There's a national championship game coming around. If you're watching this on Monday, it's today. If it's past, it already happened. You probably knew. But today we're doing a preview, basically, on the national championship game between Miami, Florida, and Indiana. So you got Miami, and then you got Indiana. So basically, first of all, just want to reflect on my predictions. They were okay. They were all right. So I got 3 out of 4 in my first round. The only one I got wrong was I predicted Oklahoma to beat Alabama. That did not happen, sadly. And then the second round, yeah, that was kind of rough. I did predict Indiana to win. I did predict Oregon to win. I did predict those, but Ole Miss beat Georgia. And also, of course, Miami beat Ohio State. And then, of course, I predicted Oregon to beat Indiana. Not my brightest moment. I looked like an absolute idiot. I'll definitely say that. Yeah, definitely. That is definitely a CC moment right there, a certified casual. But anyways, let's just break down this matchup between, of course, the 10 seed Miami, Florida Hurricanes, and the top seed Indiana Hoosiers. So what I'm looking forward to this game is basically the main determining factor is pretty much the same determining factor that has basically just defined these playoffs: physicality-ness. Who's going to establish the run, who's going to be more physical, who's going to make the plays, who's going to be the more physical team. And that starts off with the run game. That's both these two teams have done really good these playoffs. Of course, you look at Miami, you look at Mark Fletcher. He's had a very good postseason this year. He's got 1,080 rushing yards on the year, so he's had a good season. And of course, from Indiana, everyone talks about Mendoza and, of course, all those receivers that they have. But Roman Hemby has been very solid this year. He's got 1,060 total rushing yards on the year. He's been very good. Of course, he was good during his Maryland years. I remember when he played at Maryland. He was the only thing, or I shouldn't say the only thing, but he was the main focal point of that offense when he was at Maryland. And now he transfers to Indiana. Now gets a legit shot at winning a national title. And now he's been doing pretty well there as well. But anyways, yeah, so those are the main two running backs I'm looking at. But of course, the running backs can't do anything without a good offensive line. And I think Miami's going up. The defensive line is very stout, but they're going against Indiana's offensive line. It was a very big offensive line, and they were very physical, and they could definitely move bodies as well. My matchup basically here is Indiana's offensive line against Miami's defensive line. When you got guys like Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, those two right there are the game changers for Miami. If those two can get some chaos, they'll keep them in this. But also on the defensive side, also their linebacker, Miami's linebacker, Mohamed Toure, he will also have an impact on this one as well. He has 32 solo tackles this year. I'm looking at him to make an impact as well. I'll see him flying around for the linebacker position. But, of course, let's talk about Indiana. Let's talk about Fernando Mendoza. Of course, this guy's an NFL quarterback. He's definitely an NFL quarterback. If you define to me pocket passer quarterback in college, it's Fernando Mendoza. I just see so much Jared Goff in him. And I know Jared Goff really didn't have the greatest year in Detroit, but he's a really good quarterback. When he's got time, he's got pocket, he's a completion percentage guy. He will be accurate toward his receivers almost 90% of the time. He is a really good quarterback. But the main thing is, Mendoza kind of struggles when he deals with pressure. Sure, he has some sort of legs. He can use his legs. He's not the most mobile quarterback, though. So if Mesidor and Bain can get to him, that will be a big win for the Miami defense. But, of course, we got to talk about these receivers. Elijah Surratt, Omar Cooper Jr., and Charlie Becker are the three. Of course, Elijah Surratt was returning from last year's squad. Omar Cooper, I believe, transferred from I believe like a little school, and he's having a heck of a year. He's leading the team in receiving yards. He has 866, and then Charlie Becker has just really came on towards the end of the year. He had his breakout performance against Penn State. He played very well against Ohio State. He had some big moments in that one, and he's just been playing very well in these playoffs. Like, it's been incredible about what all these receivers can do, especially like Becker's just been stepping up. And don't forget about the tight end play. Riley Nowakowski, former Badger. He's been very solid for Indiana this year. But yeah, so many weapons for Fernando Mendoza to use. And of course, Indiana's got a good defense as well. They're basically, the notable guy here is Raleigh Hardy. He's their main linebacker. He's 46 solo tackles on the year, and he has 8 sacks. He's leading the team in sacks and total tackles. He's got 99 total tackles. So Hardy's been having a heck of a year so far for the Hoosiers, and I'm looking him to get after the Miami's offense. Oh yeah, let's take a look at Miami's offense. We already talked about Mark Fletcher, but let's talk about Carson Beck. Boy, what Carson Beck has been through in these playoffs, like throughout this entire season and his entire career. You know, he was at Georgia, you know, that 2023 season. He led Georgia to a 12-0 record. And then they lost one game in the SEC championship game to Alabama. And they missed the playoffs that year. And then, of course, the next year you got 2024. You know, Carson Beck was the starting quarterback of Georgia. A lot of inconsistencies that year. Finished 10-2. Did win the SEC title game, but Beck got injured and Stockton finished that game. And Gunnar Stockton did play in the playoffs against Notre Dame, eventually losing. So Carson Beck then decides to transfer to Miami. Main reason, well, I think he was dating a Kavanaugh sister for the basketball team at the time, but also, you know, there was a lot of questions about Carson Beck. Can he play good football? How is he going to do in Miami? A lot of people were counting him out, but he played really good this year. Sure, he's been some sketchy performances there and there. Of course, you look at the Louisville game, which was an ugly, and of course, that SMU game. But ever since, Carson Beck has been playing some of the best football in the nation. He's just been very good ever since. He's making the plays with his legs. He can throw it as well. Carson Beck has just been really good, and he is the main reason why Georgia is having all the salt mines. No pun intended. But anyways, Carson Beck's got to play well, of course. But then, of course, their main receiver, Malachi Toney. This guy's a stud. He has 1,089 receiving yards total. I mean, this guy is a stud. Expect this guy to play Sundays in the future because, man, his route running ability, his speed, his catching. He had a couple drops a little bit, but other than that, he's just been phenomenal. I mean, he is just their started receiver. So Miami's got a whole bunch of talent. And with that talent, they can play physical as well. You know, Mario Cristobal has done a great job at Miami. You know, he kind of got a little under the fire, especially in 2023 against Georgia Tech, where he kept running the football instead of taking knees, and eventually costed them. Everybody started to get on fire of that. But ever since, like, he's just been a very solid football coach. And honestly, and of course, I talk about Mario Cristobal. We got to talk about Curt Cinetti. Curt Cinetti is the next Nick Saban. He is the next Nick Saban by far. Like, you just see, like, he's all business. You know, Indiana's just killing everybody he still just looks straight-faced. And he's never satisfied. But, you know, he definitely has a fire under his belt, and he's got his team playing some really good football. He's kind of Nick Saban of the transfer portal era. Expect Indiana to be good throughout a long time because Indiana is here to stay. They proved it this year. The main thing was, like, can Indiana prove this year that they weren't a fluke last year? Can they continue the success? They definitely did. They got their guy Fernando Mendoza in the portal as long as any other guys, and now they're just dominating college football. So now that's kind of a preview on the two teams. Well, I think basically, again, the physicality is going to play a big role in this game. But now, who do I think is going to win? Well, prediction time. So, you know, this game is in Miami. Of course, it's in Hard Rock Stadium. You know, there's going to be a lot of Miami fans. But Indiana loves to travel well. There's something about, these Big Ten schools in the Midwest. Like, I'm a Badger fan. Like, Wisconsin fans love to travel. See a bunch of Iowa fans like to travel. And Indiana has been traveling a lot this postseason as well. So, there will be some Indiana fans there. But, so, and not to say, like, there's still going to be, like, this is basically be a home game for Miami. But, here's the thing about Indiana. Indiana's just been dominating all year long, and I just don't see any signs of stopping. Do I think it's going to be a closer game? Yes. I do think it will be a closer game than Oregon and Indiana. I do not think it's going to be a blowout, but I just don't see Miami just, they have the talent, they have the physicality, but overall, Indiana is just the better team. They're the more trustworthy team. And with that, give me Indiana. And I think they'll win by a score of 31-14. That will be my final. 31-14. I think Indiana will win. I think Miami will keep it a little bit close at the start, but Indiana's going to put on the throttle. And I cannot believe I'm going to be saying this, but Indiana is going to win a national championship in football. What a world we live in. What a world we live in. I can't believe it as much as you. But anyways, thanks for watching this preview. I do have a lot of plans coming in the future. I got a fun thing that I got planned to do, so maybe I'll definitely post that. And then of course I'm gonna start a bracketology as well. So I'm a big college basketball guy, so I do bracketologies almost every year. I start them in February, so I'll post my first bracketology video on February 2nd. So save the date for you guys that love college basketball, love the bracketologies, love the brackets, that stuff. I'm a big guy too. So February 2nd will be my first bracketology edition, so stay tuned for that. February 2nd, mark the calendar. But before then, I got a lot of stuff planned too. I have kind of this NFL quarterback bracket thing I want to do as well. More on that in my next video I'm going to do. So I think that'll be fun too. Basically what I thought, putting all the quarterbacks into a bracket and do something like that. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. But anyways, thank you for tuning in. Just kind of a little short video about the national championship. And I'll see you guys in the next one.